Good morning. It's April 5th, 2022. And once again, we have buffoonery in the county. If you guys have not picked up the Sunday paper and read it now by Tuesday morning, you should. You should start at the front page of buffoonery, and we'll start with the customary use. And first and foremost in customary uses, here's what you need to know. Since the county went to take the beaches back and make them public that they had approved and sold off as private for years and years and years in the land development process, they decided to go back and say, nah, we didn't really mean it. It didn't matter. So we sued. We sued with your money. In fact, it's so the money, most of their ad valorem comes off the beach and tourists for the beach. So they took the property owners who are paying the most tax, the most, and they sued them with their own money. How much did they sue them for? Well, we're enriching lawyers because that's what this is about. Let's just put old Danny up here, because when Danny, who's up for re-election and nobody wanting to run with him, what's wrong with your district? Do you want a liar running it? This guy wants the bay polluted. And he campaigned to everybody in the South End. It was our money. He came down here and said, this customary use thing is wrong, because Danny knew that for years, Walton County was selling off beach as private developments. These people weren't demons. They came down here and somebody gave them some paperwork that said they owned a private beach and they paid for it. So there wasn't supposed to be a private beach. Why were these elected officials letting these development orders be written as such? And how did Suzanne Harris with Edgewater Condominiums get a judge's order before these lawsuits that the county agreed she had a private beach? You know what this was really? Customary use was the red herring in the room. Looky here, squirrel, squirrel. And while we were all staring about a beach that had always been private in some parts, everybody could still walk the water line. Nobody was being thrown off. These people were being thrown off. They were up there on land that people was told that they had a deed to. They weren't demons. They were caught in the lies of government. And the guy behind me right there is one of the main ones. This guy was in on it, and now they're all in on it. And they're taking direction from who? That's right, Mr. Potato Chip Bowl on his head, drinking some wine probably with receipts that he never could produce. Remember that, Clay? Didn't we fire Dee for this? So the great sale, listen to this. They have spent $2.3 million. Theriac is getting rich off of this. And also, was it Weaver, Stans and Weaver? Who is that? Weaver and Costanzas. They've changed their name a couple of times. But this firm is just a paid political operative. And guess what else they've done? They spent over $300,000 on an expert. He's not a legal expert. He's an archaeologist type expert. And he's been down there wandering the beach looking for arrowheads and saying, look, the Native Americans were here 100 years ago and there's customary use of it. Well, let me play that on the other foot. What if all the beach owners went down there and hired ourselves an expert? And I don't own any beach. I'm okay with what public beach we got. It's just overloaded because your commissioners didn't follow the plan. But how about this legalese, man? How about that? Hey, Clay, won't you and that idiot in planning, what's his name, Steve Hall? You go read what Steve Hall did for the county findings, and we'll go over that one in a second. But the lawyers are the problem in this county, and the lack of leadership by these fools and employees who are willing to lie. I mean, it's just a trifecta. And like I said, that's why this employee was shocked when she got fired, because what she did was mild and she knew it, to what these people and this person and this guy's pulling off. They're blowing your money. But back to the subject, Mr. Miller, Dr. Miller, we paid you $300,000 to testify about the historical use. So what if we all get some experts And we go up there to all you connected good old boys, sacred hunting lands that you own. And we go out there stomping around and find us some airheads and say, you know something? Customarily for 200 years, 1,000 years, Native Americans hunted here. So by God, we're going to too. That's just about how good this stupid logic is. And we know what it really was. Customary use was so that everybody could go squirrel, and they have approved every overdevelopment, broke every rule while they kept you focused on the beach that they'd already long sold off. Man, this is a sucker's move, and there is no end in sight. Some idiot online said the Constitution said the beaches are free in the water. They still are in Walton County. Anybody can walk down the wet area, and right there in the tidal area below mean high water line, anybody can. Nobody's been arrested for it. But our sheriff's not going to enforce a property right. He's about tourists. Hell, he's not even going to hunt down gang members. He's not going to stop frauds in real estate of $500 million or greater. We got a problem. Him, lack of leadership, and lawyers. And a BCC, let me tell you something. Like I said, Danny's position, go read the newspaper article. Don't listen to Alan Osborne. I don't think the newspaper's after Danny. He admits that he changed his position the second his butt hit the seat, and he got to take this oath of what he was going to do. So you know what he did? He started off by breaking all his promises. You remember that on election. You remember that when you people in his district don't want to run. When the bay's polluted in years to come, and this man lays his worm food in dirt, the impacts of him and the rest of them, remember it was him and Trey who moved to approve the high rise. Yep, it'll all be on these guys. It's squirrel. So moving on to the second issue in the newspaper. Remember the Trump banners and Mr. Peavy and all him down there? Well, Steve Hall, go read that article. It's on in the back. They admit. So here's what happened. Steve Hall, the land and code attorney that won't stand up and tell them that Sandestin's out of compliance. What he did was he filed something saying that the defendants had not filed on time when actually they had. So he hadn't even read the filing dates. And so he filed something that was totally mistaken because him and Clay didn't even know what date it was. Apparently, they put so much effort into removing the Trump banners. And then the newspaper article goes on to admit that he said he tried to cover it up, but it was too late. Let me tell you, that is classic Walton County. Let's cover it up. We did the wrong thing, but if we admit it in public, because gosh forbid we act like we're human. But see, they don't want to admit a mistake in public because then they'll have to show that they're going to hold some people accountable, which goes back to the question. Stan wasn't held accountable. He got a sweet deal. But if Dee Dee got canned for her deal, then why hasn't he been canned? And why haven't these people who just flat lie? And why aren't these elected officials doing anything about it? We got a problem in Walton County, and it's costing us millions, and we don't know it. Danny and Trey signed off on 22-story condos or whatever in Sandestin, and they absolutely know that Sandestin's entitlements are based on compliance, but they're not going to have a compliance hearing. We're not going to talk about what's real out there. But you read the paper, you know what is real? They're taking our own money and coming after us with it. They're overdeveloping things, they're fixing nothing, and they're playing squirrel with things like customary use and pulling at your heartstrings and blaming people who are the victims of this board and past boards. And that's a Tuesday morning, and the way it is, go read the Northwest Florida Daily News. Go read of Sunday's edition. Go online and read about the Trump banners in the Peavy case, and read about customary use, and read how your country, your community, and your money is being thrown out the door. And now these guys are going to do a dang thing about it. We need somebody to replace Danny. And hopefully Donna Johns will replace Trey, because Trey, we all know that you never lived where you said you did. I'm going to file an ethics complaint on Trey, and we're going to get to the bottom of some of them issues. So I'm just letting y'all know here. It's a Tuesday, and y'all keep them straight out here. It's the Alan Osborne Show. I'll see you later. You can't make this shit up. It's too damn, it's just impossible to make up shit this crazy. They had to do it themselves. See you next time.